over top of it on 31st and P Streets in Church Hill. Those people in those places encouraged all of us to stay in school, to be certain to participate in government. I was charged with the responsibility back in the early parts of the 50s and 60s when voter registration was to be a key. There was a yellow book that they would put out, and you'd hang that book up in the barber shops. And you know, the barber shop is the wolf house for everybody. Everybody's got to have their say. You see that show on television, the barber shop. The philosophers of the world, they're better than the winos on the corner because they'll step up. They know everything. And so the guys in the barber shop would say to me, Doug, if his name is not in that book, let us know, because we will shut him up. And I would be the first to run to that book. I was about 16. His name is not here, then shut up. Don't you speak about anything that you know. If you know so much about something, you should be registered. You should vote. I don't care if it is a poll tax. Pay it. And when you consider that on too many occasions today, our society, across the board, not necessarily class, has said to our youngsters that they don't have to be the best. They settle for that mediocrity just to get by. You and I know we have some high school students graduating today from college. Now, what did I say? High school students graduating from college, which means the college degrees they get today in some places are not worth those high school degrees and diplomas that we got. They didn't know what the calculus was. You speak to kids about algebra today or the proper pronunciation today, and they think that you are, as some would say, talking white. Then talk white. That's that nonsense that swept through some portions of the nation some few years ago when they were speaking about Ebonics. Remember that, Tim? Ebonics. And they would ask me, and they would debate it and talk about Ebonics. This is that language that you had to speak. Wilder, what do you have to say about it? I say, when they start speaking it on Wall Street, let me know. That's the time to do it. Our kids need to be challenged. You're right, Tim, they're coming from all over the world, but when they're coming with 2 and 3 disciplines. They are coming with degrees. They're coming with the 2 or 3 degrees, and they are coming ready to work. And to the extent that you're going to have a dropout society, we can't afford that. And so it's lucky, yes, I was very fortunate. We've lost that civility. I think in the other instance, we have too many young people waiting for someone to tell them when it's time for them to move. Waiting. And they'll say, well, you know, I'm going to, what are you going to do? Well, I don't know. Well, what are you doing now? Well, you know, well, what are you doing now? Well, you know. I've had youngsters to come to me to ask for recommendations for scholarships at various places. And in one school, when I was in the state senate, the senators can send a kid to military school, Virginia Military Institute. Each senator could send kids there free. So I had this youngster to come there, and he had excellent paperwork in front of him on grades. And I said, so I didn't have it at the time. It was in an envelope. I said, what are you here for? And he said, well, you know, I heard you could, you know, make a recommendation for me to, you know, get that thing. I said, I can't hear you. Well, you know, like I was told, you know, I want to get to go to school up there in your, you know. I said, is your name such and such a thing? Yes. You're this person here? Yes. You've got A's all the way through. How did that happen? Is this you? Yes, that's me. I said, then what? And it was like a metamorphosis. He started being the real person that he was. I said, well, then why did you talk that way to me when you first came here? He said, well, you know, people accuse you of being cute or trying to put on airs or trying to be smarter than they are. I said, then that's what you want to be. You want to be smarter than that next person. You want to be the best that you can be. You want to live up to the highest possibility of your attainment. Now, your parents might not have the education in many instances that they could have had, and that's where we need to start. Not just with the kids. We've got to start with the parents. We can't allow the parents to believe that someone's going to raise their children. We can't allow the fathers to believe that they can be the father at the time when those kids are able to play a sport. That's my son, but was he your son when that kid needed some help and needed some support and needed someone to guide him or her? We need to have these parents who are able to say to these kids, no, you're going to do one or two things. You're either going to get a job and work, or you're going to go to school, and you're going to help yourself there too. And there has to be a cutoff period of time. We had that. It was built in, Tim. It was built in your home, I know, most of you. It was built in my home because my father said, I don't have money to waste. Now, I'll tell you what, there were 9 of us, 10 of us altogether, with 8 siblings. Not going to be able to send all of you to college. Not going to be able to send any of you to college. But I'm going to guarantee all of you high school. I only had one home my entire life, 28th and P Street. My father built that house, paid for that house. When I said built it, he had it built. His father, who was a slave, built his house across the street. Now, if those 2 men could have these big families and build their own homes and have it so that we knew we had the comfort of family, we didn't have to worry about where the rent was going to come from or who our neighbors were going to be. And we understood that we had to go to school because my father said, if you don't do that, you can't stay here. I told my mother I was going to run away from home. She said, oh, boy, you can't do that. I said, yes, I am. Let everybody know it. So she did tell my father. See, he told me, he said, I understand you want to run away from home. I said, yeah, did your mother tell you that? My mother tell you that? Yep. He said, tell me where you want to go, and I'll carry you. We don't do that today. We so afraid our children be mad with us. We want them to be our buddies. We want them to be our pals. My granddaughter, my grandsons were asking my daughter asked them asked me what she wanted me to call them. What do you want them to call you? You know, a lot of people like to be called. I said, I am their grandfather. Yeah. Call me granddad. That's the shortest I'm going to make it. They need to know that there is a figure in their lives that they respect, because family is all you have. And finally, I would say that there isn't anything you can't do to these youngsters. You make up your mind what you want to do, you can do it. You can do it in this country. And I'm not talking about as a result of what happened in the last 4, 5, 6, 10, or 20 years. That was always what I was taught. Always taught. Notwithstanding how things may be today, you work for that better day because you can cut it. And that's why I always would say that, a little poem I usually say to kids, that I will persist until I succeed, because I was not delivered into this world in defeat, nor does defeatism run through my blood or the blood of my ancestors. I am not some sheep waiting to be prodded by that distant shepherd. I don't want to know the sheep, associate with the sheep, because the slaughterhouse of failure is not my destiny. And I will persist until I succeed. Whatever they do, however they do it, persist until they succeed. Thank you.